Kashmir, a paradise of unparalleled beauty. But paradise can be lost. To understand the chaos of 1989 to 90, we must go back to 1947. A neighbor's covert hand, political missteps by New Delhi. A valley caught in the crossfire. From the corridors of power to blood-stained streets. This book unveils the untold story of a turning point in Kashmir's history. Before the insurgency became a full-blown asymmetric war. Could it have been controlled? An in-depth analysis of history, conflict, and consequences. Read it to uncover the truth. Kashmir, the story you thought you knew, but not like this. Available now.
Daljeet Singh Cheema, the author Yoginder Kandhari, and Sandeep, the publisher. Please take the place on the dais. Jai Hind, Namaste and a very good afternoon to one and all present here, distinguished guests, esteemed veterans and fellow comrades. A heart welcome to each one of you. It's a joy to have you here as we gather to celebrate a truly special milestone, the launch of Kashmir Insurgency, Deconstructing the State's Response, Revisiting 1989-90 by Yoginder Kandhari. Today isn't just about a book. It is about the journey of words, emotions, and factual description that have come together to create something meaningful. We are honored by your presence, friends, readers, well-wishers, and fellow lovers of literature to witness the birth of a story that's ready to make its way into the world. Ladies and gentlemen, now it gives me an immense pleasure to introduce our chief guest, General Ved Prakash Malik, PVSM, AVSM, who agreed upon to grace the occasion. General Ved Prakash Malik is a highly respectable military leader and a former Chief of the Army Staff, Indian Army. Over a decade-long illustrious career, he held key command positions, including leading a division in the Valley during the turbulent early 1990s. As the 19th Chief of the Army Staff, General Malik distinguished the Indian Army during the Kargil conflict, overseeing the Operation Vijay with strategic acumen and resolute leadership. In recognition of his exceptional service, he was decorated with Param Vishesh Seva Medal and Ati Vishesh Seva Medal. I now request Mrs. Raj Kandhari. I'm sure you all don't know, she is the pillar of strength of Mr. Yoginder Kandhari, to welcome the chief guest by presenting a memento. I think we all need to join our hands and give us a loud round of applause and welcome the chief guest. Please join me in welcoming our guest of honor, Colonel Daljeet Singh Cheema. So, Colonel Daljeet Singh Cheema is a distinguished Indian Army veteran, educator, and a prolific author known for his contributions to military education and Sikh heritage. With a 38 years of tenure in the management education, he has served as a guest faculty member at the National Center of Good Governance, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Missouri, where IS officers receive training. He is also a professor at the Shulini University, Solan, Himachal Pradesh. In recognition to his intellectual achievements, he was awarded the Punjab Ratan in 2008. As an author, Colonel Cheema has penned 19 books covering diverse subjects in academia and self-help. Colonel Cheema's multifaceted career reflects his dedication to education, literature, and preserving the Sikh history and values. Now I request Mrs. Asha Mahajan. Now I would like to give a small introduction to Asha Mahajan. She is the better half of Colonel Mahajan. I would want Colonel Mahajan to please be here or wave his hand from wherever he is. Colonel Vijay Mahajan has been motivating regularly not only his wife but Mr. Kandhari to do the writing of this book. So you can say he's the support system. Thank you, Asha ma'am, and thank you, Daljeet Singh sir. Proceeding further, let me introduce you to the author of the book, Ms. Yoginder Kandhari. Yoginder Kandhari is a retired Indian Army officer and insightful columnist known for his deep engagement with socio-political and military issues. A prominent voice of the Kashmir Pandit community, especially among the non-migrants who chose to remain in the Kashmir Valley. He has written extensively on their unique challenges. His work highlights identity, resilience, and the need for inclusive policy framework. Through his thoughtful commentary and lived experience, he brings critical attention to the unpresented voices. So now I request Navsangeet Kaur ma'am to do the honors and welcoming and having a long association, and I wish the author writes many more and many of the books are being published by Right Falcon. Yes, this event will not be complete unless a book is written. There's a chief guest who does the honors, but a publisher is the one who publishes the book, right? Who makes it reach to the common man. So Navsangeet is a founder of the White Falcon Publishing House. She started her entrepreneurial practice in 2014. She's a gold medalist and BSc, MSc, and done her honors from the Punjab University. And she has pursued her MBA from the Symbiosis University, Pune. She is a successful entrepreneur, creative writer, and editor. And what is not mentioned on this slide is she is a wonderful wife and a caring mother. So, and now, yes, I think the introduction of the earlier introduction is being done, and I really want to thank you for all of you to join on this special occasion, and we look forward for the discussions which we are going to have in, as the day goes along. So now I request the dignitaries to join in for unveiling the book. I think we all need to give a loud round of applause. That's
Sir.
It's a very proud moment for all the four who's there. And Colonel Mahajan, I would want you to please join in. Please join in. Just for the picture at least, I would want you to. One picture. One picture with him also. He actually doesn't even have to unveil the book because he has been for these 3 years of research. It is not Yoginder Kandhari doing it all alone, but So, thank you, Colonel Maharaj. With great excitement and pride, now I invite the star of today's event, the brilliant author behind this remarkable work, Yoginder Kandhari, to share a few words.
करवा लेता हूँ।
Ladies and gentlemen,
आगे चलते हैं।
hello. Ladies and gentlemen, today it is deeply moving for me. Ladies, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, today is deeply moving for me to be here with you all. This moment is just not about a launch of a book. It is culmination of a personal and painful journey. I did not write this book as a scholar looking in from outside. I wrote it as someone who was witness to the events, who wore the uniform, and who still carries certain questions and memories that have not been answered thus far. I wrote this book not because 1989 and 90 was a year of chaos in Kashmir. It was a turning point in the Indian conscience. The valley was consumed by violence, uncertainty, and fear. The Indian state, on the other hand, seemed frozen. That silence, that paralysis, that absence of urgency stayed with me all these years. For over 3 years now, I tried to piece together and put not just what happened during insurgency, but also why it happened the way it happened. This wasn't easy. The facts were scattered. The truth was buried deep under official apathy and political denials. But I had one single focus point. Why did we as a nation go so fundamentally wrong? As someone who has served in Kashmir during the peak of militant insurgency, I saw its aftermath. But it compelled me to go deeper, to understand the crisis which blew into a full-blown insurgency. What I found was sobering. There were missed warnings, systemic inertia, lack of political will, and glaring absence of accountability. The more I dug, the clearer it became that this was not just only about insurgency or enemy outside, but also failures within. This book is my attempt to tell what I found, and not just about insurgency, but also about the response or lack of it. I have relied on declassified documents, RTI findings, first-hand accounts, and interviewed those who were in the thick of it. Be those civil servants, soldiers, police officials, and citizens who chose to stay back while the others fled. Ladies and gentlemen, in course of my research, I came across startling and revealing accounts that had long been swept under the carpet. If pursued fully, these revelations would have opened a Pandora's box with implications far beyond the valley. But that was never my intention. My goal was not to sensationalize, but to understand. So, out of respect for the complexity of the truth and the responsibility that comes with it, telling it. I chose to let these stories rest. Well, some may wonder why I have not gone into the detailed description of violence against minorities, especially the Kashmiri Pandits. Let me be honest, that trauma has already been documented in many other works. My focus was different. I wanted to understand why these tragedies were not prevented. Why did the state look away? Why there was no urgency, no inquiry or no closure? The book is also my personal story. I am a Kashmiri. My home still stands in Srinagar, but I have not lived there in decades. Like thousands of others, my family was forced to leave, not out of choice, but of fear. And yet we were called migrants. No, we were, and we are not still. We are displaced persons. That status has still not changed, even 35 years later. I did not write this book to provoke. I wrote to preserve memory, to seek truth, and to demand responsibility. I wrote this book because the voices of the deprived, displaced, and forgotten deserve more than political lip service. I know this book may unsettle many. It may raise uncomfortable questions. At the same time, I know fully well that I in no way claim it to be the complete Kashmir story. But if my book sparks reflection, if it promotes debate, if it forces us to look at the history without filters, I think my book would have done its job. In the end, ladies and gentlemen, I wrote this book not because I had all the answers, but because I believe we must ask the right questions. Thank you all to allow me to share all my thoughts. Thank you for listening. Jai Hind.
I think this needs a louder round of applause. And being a part of the same community, I liked one statement which I think he firmly said, we are not migrants, we are displaced. Thank you. So yes, I know there are a lot of emotions right now. And let's sink in with these emotions and move ahead. So now we all know about Colonel Charanjit Singh Dhillon. So I request him to now share a few words on the structure of the book. Because he has focused on each chapter and an insightful overview of its layout and thematic progression. Sir, I want you to come here, and before we start, I would request Ritika Seni to honor him by presenting a bouquet. Yes, us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I again once more take this opportunity to welcome you all to this momentous occasion of book launch of my friend, compatriot, comrade, brother in arms, Yoginder Kandhari. Yoginder's book, Kashmir Insurgency, Deconstructing, the State Response, Revisiting 1890, is a reconstruction of events that transpired during the period in the erstwhile state of J&K. Before I venture to dwell on the book itself, let me inform you all that Yoginder, like he himself said, is the son of the soil He was brought up there and so has experienced firsthand for himself and from the knowledge that was passed on to him from his father and forefathers. The book, therefore, is a testimony of his emotional and intellectual desire to unravel the truth behind the torturous journey of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. I take great pride in informing the audience today that this is not the first book that is written by Kandhari. He has authored or co-authored another book on the subject of J&K, and it is titled as Jammu and Kashmir, Breaking the Subversive Net, A Way Forward. This book, Yoginder, is other than being an intellectual, is a student of English literature and also a management graduate. He is a rare blend of being a scholar, soldier, and a gentleman. Like told previously too, he was commissioned into the army, the regiment of the artillery in 1976. He served the nation till he took voluntary retirement in 1998. Rich in experience, who could be better placed to see, experience, evaluate, both from inside and outside, as to what transpired during the period, and so also what led it to its consequence. Ladies and gentlemen, even though Kandhari is intimately knowledgeable, aware, and exposed to the social, cultural, religious, and political fabric of the state, Yoginder, to eradicate any chance of bias or and in search of truth, took 3.5 long years to research the issue. He browsed through thousands of pages in the archives, collected, correlated, and cross-checked the information collected. In addition, the book is a product of in-depth, first-hand information gained through interviews with serving retired bureaucrats and military officers. Yoginder has also based the contents of his book from statements that he recorded, from the citizens who witnessed all and were unfortunate participants. Ladies and gentlemen, the exodus of the Kashmiri Pandits, in particular, from the rally has been recorded in the annals of history. It has been said that the Kashmiri Pandits had to leave the valley. The exodus took place not once, not twice, but 8 times in the history. I was not aware of it. I learned it. The last one being now, the 8th one. History may have failed to acknowledge that these catastrophic events were more painful and prolonged than the event that even the Jews had to endure during the time of the Nazis. Yoginder's book made me introspect and realize that events in time are not restricted to a certain date or period alone, but are a consequence and corollary of the past that led to it. It is a reflection of the past. I repeat again, it's a reflection of the past that has interwoven into the present. Yoginder's book reminds us that a nation that forgets its past has no future. I would like to drive it home and repeat it. A nation that forgets its past has no future. It reminds us that if you do not learn from mistakes of the past, you are doomed, condemned to repeat it. So, do the events of 89-90 have a linkage or are a consequence to the historical past? This I asked him in a little conversation that we had together, and his answer was an emphatic yes. That is, during my detailed discussion, he told me, in regards to the book, I happened to ask him one question that had always been very uppermost in my mind, the answer to which I did not know, is that how and when did Kashmir, that was totally Hindu, Vedic, and Buddhist in culture. What transpired in nature, in history, that the demographic totally changed from being 100% to coming down to almost 99% or 94%, whatever, in the valley. Vedic, Buddhist, ethnic in nature transformed into Islamic kingdom. To this he informed me of recorded history and warned me that it is replete with deceit, greed and treachery that led to the downfall of this great civilization.
Due to the shortage of time, basically, that is the thing, that's the constraint we're facing right now, and because General Malik has another commitment, and I would request everybody, the one who's speaker, just stick to the topic. That would be better, and that would be convenient. So, yes. Further, talking about the publisher, that is Navsangeet Kaur, the managing director of White Falcon Publishing House, the person who helped in making the work visible, navigating through the legal and the logistic hurdles faced but remained committed to the freedom of the bold narratives. So I request Navsangeet, please share your experiences, your few words are very important.
So much. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, members of the media, and fellow book lovers. It is with great honor that today I introduce you to a book that will fundamentally reshape our understanding of one of the most complex and tragic chapters in India's post-independence history. I met Yoginder sir in early January this year when he was en route to Jammu after returning from the US. He challenged me that if White Falcon could publish this complex and analytical book. I'm glad that we took up this challenge. What makes this work truly exceptional is its commitment to truth, facts, and comprehensive analysis. This book dares to ask the uncomfortable questions. What were India's own failures? How did our institutions respond? And most critically, could this tragedy have been prevented? As a publisher, we knew this book would challenge established narratives and perhaps make some people uncomfortable. But we also knew this was essential. We chose to publish this book because it represents uncompromising research and investigation. It fills a critical gap in our historical record. Until now, no single work has comprehensively examined the Indian state's response to the Kashmir Insurgency with such detail and objectivity. Also, this book serves as a crucial lesson for contemporary India. In an era where we are facing multiple security challenges, understanding how and why we failed in Kashmir becomes essential to preventing similar failures elsewhere. The level of detail in this book is staggering, and hence it demanded meticulous editing and several rounds of proofreading. This book arrives at a critical moment in our national discourse, as India grapples with various security challenges and as Kashmir continues to seek lasting peace. Understanding the lessons of the 1990s becomes very essential. This book provides those lessons with unprecedented detail and clarity. As the publisher of this book, we hope it will contribute to a more informed and nuanced understanding of one of our nation's most complex challenges. I invite you all to read this book with open minds and critical faculties. Please engage with its arguments, verify the claims, and join the conversation it seeks to start. Only through such honest engagement can we hope to learn from our past and build a better future. Thank you. I would like to present an award of appreciation to Yoginder Kandhari on behalf of Retd for his contribution to literature and historical record.
No, not
Thank you, Navsangi. And now moving ahead, I have Colonel Jagdeep Singh. Colonel Jagdeep Singh, a battle casualty and a fellow officer who served alongside the author in the valley during the peak of insurgency. His experiences not only led to the authenticity of the narrative, but also offers a prominent connection to the book's central theme. So, Colonel Jagdeep, sir, before you start addressing, I would want Ritika Saini to welcome Colonel Jagdeep. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor and pleasure for me to express my views to this esteemed gathering on the book launch of my revered mentor and a big brother, Yoginder Kandhari. I'll take this opportunity and I'll take few seconds to put on record my relations and the impact of Yoginder Kandhari personality on my life. Our relationship goes back to 1994 when I, as a young captain of 3-year service, was fortunate and blessed to serve under leadership of Yoginder Kandhari. I learned not only the nuances of the counterinsurgency operations or administration, but also a leadership and a human being who could be a very conviction, who can work with conviction, who can live with conviction and humility. So thanks a lot for being part of my life. I am really humbled and honored to be part of this occasion. Now I will express my few words on the book. As we all know, Yoginder Kandhari, who himself is a Kashmiri Pandit, he is a witness to the Kashmiri exodus and genocide at the hands of the Kashmiri radicals supported by Pakistan. His first-hand experience and meticulous research has been of immense help in knowing the complexity of Kashmiri conflict. Other than Kashmiri Pandit, no one else would have expressed factually in the form of a book. The book provides a nuanced understanding of the Kashmir Insurgency and the Indian state, the interaction and the relations between different institutions, that is government, local administration and the security agencies, and how these dynamics shape the response to insurgency. The specific historical, social and cultural context of Kashmir, which influences the administrative response for the insurgency and shapes the outcome of policy decisions. Yoginder Kandhari has also highlighted the apathy of different institutions toward the inaction during time of exodus of Kashmiri Pandits from Delhi. Pakistan, who had always been supporting this Kashmir radicals, not only supporting financially, but brainwashing them and also with the weapons. They are the root cause of this Kashmir problem. And the impact of this, as a result of this, as well as the Indian response to the cross-border terrorism, has also been highlighted in this book. Overall, Kashmir Insurgency is considered a must-read for those seeking to understand the complexities of Kashmir problem in whole. Yoginder Kandhari work serves as a valuable resource for policymakers, researchers, and anyone who is interested in knowing the Kashmir conflict. I strongly recommend that everyone must who is interested in knowing the Kashmir history and the Kashmir conflict, which is going on for last so many years, must read this book. The book is a valuable addition to the existing literature on Kashmir, offering a fresh perspective and new insights into the region's history and politics. I wish Kandhari all the good luck. This is his first book, and we will definitely wait for his further ventures into different aspects on through his writing through books. I wish him all the good luck, and thank you very much for all. And I feel humble and honored to be part of this esteemed gathering. Jai Hind.
So now taking the discussions further ahead, we are excited to hear from the literary and the luminary Colonel Cheema, our guest of honor. So the stage is all set, and Colonel Cheema, we would like to listen to hearing you.
Colonel Malik, one of the greatest sons of India. I am humbled to be actually sitting next to him. Colonel Kandhari, the author, Mrs. Kandhari, Dr. Ranjana Malik, she is here. Thank you, ma'am, and good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. See, while listening to that painful introduction which Colonel Kandhari was giving, I was reminded of, what Benjamin Franklin used to say. If you would not be forgotten, the moment you are dead and rotten, either write things worth reading or do things worth writing. We have somebody who has done something worth writing about, General Malik, and we have the author who has written something worth reading. So happy and heartiest congratulations, Colonel Kandhari, wonderful. So happy to know that you authored something like this. Now, history has a problem. Most of the authors, they depend a lot on conjectures and inferences. So it is a great idea to look back to move ahead, as the author also feels, and that is why he has written what he has written. But he has based this book on research of years. That is what is creditable. That is why I feel a book like this is not only to be read, but such books must be interrogated. You go through these books with a pencil in hand, and in the margin you keep writing and asking questions with the author with whom you are communicating. Now, a few things quickly because of the shortage of time. The first is, of course, we must understand that the present Jammu and Kashmir, particularly Ladakh, owes its existence to the 25 April 1809 Satluj Treaty of Maharaja Ranjit Singh with the British. It started with all that. Then his selection of Maharaja Gulab Singh, after that the General Zorawar Singh, and 40,000 miles being added by Zorawar Singh because of Maharaja Ranjit Singh having picked him up to the present Ladakh, which is the crown of India, and we take so much of pride in this. So that is how it started. Now, I agree with Colonel Kandhari when he said that the government's apathy. You see, we as a nation, I strongly feel that we are not proactive. We are passively reactive as a nation. And I'll give you some simple examples from my personal life. In 1978, I was doing the senior command at Kavalja Combat Mount. And one Lieutenant Colonel of Armored Corps, he came to address us, and at that time he talked about the remotely piloted vehicles and the impact they are going to have on future warfare. Nobody paid any attention to that kind of thing at that time. So and whatever has happened, the other thing I feel is that we can be emotionally blackmailed and hijacked as a nation. Nations also have personality like individuals have. We have that kind of personality. Look at the great man, I'm very, very fond of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Perhaps he was one of the only other statements other than Pandit Nehru India has had. But that man also was emotionally hijacked and he went to Lahore. After that, you know what happened? The point is that we can be emotionally hijacked by people knowing what Pakistan is. And Pakistan, as you may be knowing, most of you are, I'm sure you are aware of this, that after 1971, when they realized that they can never win a conventional war from India, that is the time people like Ziaul Haq, who was a son of a mullah and who was also a madrasa, student, that those people radicalized Pakistani army there, and we know that Pakistan army used to live because of Allah, army and America. Now America is out. Even today, that failed garrison state depends upon army and Allah. This is a fact of life. All of us are aware of that fact. The point I am making is that the military doctrine of leading India with 1,000 cuts, it has become a military doctrine which is taught in their staff college at Quetta. Like we have our staff college, they teach there in Quetta that India has to be bled with those 1,000 cuts, and that is the policy. So knowing the enemy so well, why have we not been able to? Administrative lapses. It took 70 years for India to have an IIT and IIM in Jammu. The first IIT and IIM came to Jammu, and that is what is happening in East. Thank God the things were stabilized to some extent. But I had my first posting in East in 1964, and I know what the conditions were there. Similarly, we have, because of whatever reasons, I won't go into those details because there is no time. But why is it that we could not win over the local population and did that? I know there were difficult conditions. In Kashmir, this could not happen. But even in Jammu, we could open IITs, IIMs, etc. only in 2060, 70 years after this thing. So I think there is something, there is a problem somewhere which needs to be sorted out. And that problem is with our mindset, our thinking about enemies, the way you see, everyone knew that China is a bigger threat and Pakistan must be contained. If Pakistan has to be contained, why are you thinking of different kinds of, why not covert operations, which could have got us perhaps much better results? Anyway, then Malik would know much more about that. I can't say anything more than that. But let me tell you, books, to my mind, are our immortal children. And we will go away, our children will also go away. But I feel that if you write a book worth reading, मैं इसको ना मशरूम शौक कहा करता हूँ, मशरूम शौक, कि you write books and you make the society a better place to live. Isn't it? I mean, some people who read, at least someone will be influenced with positivity, goodness, which you tend to pass it on. And there is Sahir Udyan's share, beautiful share. I may not know exactly the lines, but what he said was कि माना के इस ज़मीन को गुलशाद या कर ना सके हम, कुछ खार कम हो गए जिधर से गुजरे हम, थोड़े बहुत कांटे, खार इस कांटे, कि जिधर से हम गुजरे वहाँ थोड़े बहुत कांटे तो कम किए. Now writers and authors, they do that. वो थोड़े कांटे कम करते हैं सोसाइटी के, and that is why I keep telling everyone, all the friends, that you all have the basic ability to write. So please write and share your views with others. I am grateful to Colonel Yoginder Kandhari for this opportunity to share my views, and I congratulate you once again. It is a wonderful book. I was going through the pages and I realized that what a lovely book. It was a virgin area, and the compassion and of course being dispassionate about what he's written. He's written a beautiful book, and I have no doubt that this book alone is going to put him in the category of celebrated authors. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Colonel Cheema, for your wonderful insight and your points that you shared. So, I think he's really promoted the book also that we all need to do reading. Reading is what is missing in our next generations. So, now, the most important moment of the event. With immense pleasure, I invite General Malik, our chief guest, to share valuable insights and enlighten us with your wisdom, sir. We are eager to hear your thoughts, and the stage is all yours, sir.
Madam Cheema, Ved Kandhari, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I want to congratulate Yoginder Kandhari for writing this much needed book, if I can use that word, and taking so much of pain, speaking to the witnesses, interviewing many people, including me, and also doing so much of research of the material that has already been written about Jammu and Kashmir. So my compliments to you, Yoginder. Now I accepted to come here for two reasons. Firstly, I think one of the most important questions which has not been answered by people is how Kashmir managed to implode in early 90s, I would say 89, 90. So much so that the whole of Srinagar was shouting Azadi, Azadi, Azadi. And I remember that time, even the DGP, he left his headquarters and he took shelter somewhere else. And an army officer had to go and replace him in that headquarters. And along with that came this other very unfortunate event of the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits from that day. How come we were totally helpless, watched people leave that place in hundreds during day as well as at night? So these are some very important questions along with one or two more others also, which, as Yoginder has said, have not been adequately answered even today. I mean, that's why I thought the book was very important. And the other reason, of course, I can give you is because I myself was posted in those days in Kashmir. So having said that, I'll just give you a brief history of how I got involved. Because whatever has to be said about the book, what it contains, and how well it is written, and how we should all be reading books, I think that has been said by my previous speakers. So I'm not going to go into those, but I'll give you my personal experiences of that time. It was, I think, 22nd of December 89. And I had just taken over, or about to take over, 8 Mountain in Zakama. And General V.N. Sharma, who was our chief, he came there. And this was 3 days before I took over. And he took me aside and he said, look, we are going to have a war in Pakistan. So at that time, what would your division like to do? And I told him, I said, our division had fought 71 war in Bangladesh. I do not want to stay here with the division. The division must go wherever there is fighting taking place. And that was the beginning. After a couple of months, I got an order, 7 Assam rifles to move from Imphal to go to the valley. And I must say, 7 Assam rifles did extremely well. And Kandhari has mentioned the whole chapter about it. In the team was commanding that battalion at that time. Another 1 month later, I got an order that 81 Mountain Brigade should be moved to the valley. And Brigadier Mahalingam was commanding that. So they left Post Hills from Chakabana, went all the way to Srinagar. And we were still wondering whether we will be required to go for a war or we will be inducted into the valley. But we were preparing ourselves for the war to go across the line of control, like I mentioned that today. And another, I think it was the month of April by this time, 19, when I got the order, the whole division will move to the valley and Udhampur. So that is how we moved to, my headquarters was based in Udhampur. There was one brigade located in 25 Div, one brigade located in 19 Div area, the valley area, and the third brigade, 20 brigade was with me along with artillery. So that was why I am mentioning this. There was quite a bit of confusion, not only in the government, both at the state level as well as at the level of the center, and also within the army also to some extent. You can't have a division moved all the way from the east and then distributed all over the place, about which I was indeed very unhappy about it. Now the circumstances have been described very well. I won't go into that in the book. But in this very short time, I can only give you my opinion as to why it happened. If you ask me, frankly, I would put the whole blame on Ayashi, on thorough neglect at state level. What we noticed, all state institutions, they had become impotent. Everyone was self-serving. I'm using slightly harsher words than Yoginder has written, but I'm a witness, so therefore I think I can afford to say that. They had not only become self-serving, they had also become corrupt. And the funny thing was that the chief secretary tells me, "Oh, you have come from Nagaland, so it's a very corrupt state." And I had to tell him, I said that, look, I see corruption here also, perhaps much more than I saw in Nagaland or Manipur. But that was the level to which we had reached there. There was corruption all over the place. And of course, everybody was, as I said, Ayashi, they were quite happy living in those lovely houses, good weather, and good money. And many of those personalities involved, I'm sorry to say, they all managed to rise to much higher levels subsequently. In fact, this is what I was telling Yoginder yesterday. I said, "Tumne to unko chhod diya. You have questioned a lot of people, but you have left many of them." But that is what happens when you indulge in political chapchagiri, and you take you tag on to one of the political parties, whoever is in power there. Now, even at the central level, VP Singh was the Prime Minister at that time. There was total confusion, and I would say it was a very weak government that we had. And they couldn't make out whether we needed to go across the line of control or we needed to do something in Kashmir. And that is why all that confusion coming from there came down to our divisional level also. And We had raised 28 days. Not many people know that because of what was happening here, 28 days was raised in Ladakh, Kargil sector and Siachen sector. So in all confusion that they needed more troops, At that time, 15 Corps, their responsibility extended all the way to Ladakh also. So 28D was moved to Kupwara sector to check infiltration. Now talking about infiltration, there were buses running from Anantnag. It was called Islamabad those days. There were buses running from there taking volunteers to Pindi. That is what they would write, that and they would shout that you come from so-and-so place to so-and-so place to go to Pindi. And the bus loads were all. And that was the kind of condition that were existing. Another incident I can tell you, and because as a GOC I was, floating around all over the place, I met the education minister. She was a lady, not minister, sorry, secretary of the education. And I told her, I said, look, all the government schools are closed. They are not functional. But I find all madrasas are functioning very well, all over the place. And you know what she told me? She said, yes, we have a problem in running the government school, but madrasas, why have you got any objection to that? I said, because they are talking of Islamist teaching. She said, no, they are very good. Now this is the Secretary of Education telling you at that time. So there was a total, neglect. Now it took us 8 years to be able to sort that out from 90 to 98 or so, just before Kargil got to peace. But that cultural divide that had taken place at that time and before that, because actually, as Kandhari also written correctly, the whole thing started in 86, I think, from 86 onwards. So that cultural divide cannot be corrected in such a short time. It's going to take time. Even today, it will not sort it out. If we think that everything is all right today, I'm afraid not. And Kashmiri Pandits like Yoginder Kandhari, even today, does not dare to go and occupy his house that is there in Singh. That is the kind of condition. So, that is going to take time, but that can only, all these things can be corrected if we know our history correctly and if we know what went wrong and why it could not be. But if we continue to make much of those people who were in power then and they remain in power, or rather they keep rising in their career and in their professions, then I'm afraid there is very little chance. And that is why I believe the book has become very important. It has become important to find out the reasons why that kind of situation took place at that time. It has become important also to name some of the personalities of that era. There is no need to be soft on them, as Yoginder Kandhari has been in this book. So, I'll end this by saying I'm glad Yoginder has asked too many questions. That is what a researcher should be doing in this book. And I compliment him for the effort that he has taken over 3 years to write the book. And it's a book which was needed, which we all need to understand, so that we don't make such mistakes again. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
I think We need a louder applause because genuine knowledge actually took us truly, when I was listening to him, the picture of Kashmir, when he spoke very, very upfront about the corruption, he used terms which normally we avoid, but I think that was fantastic, sir, of bringing the facts to the people. And I think we should also have that kind of courage to go and speak it out to the world. And not just saying that, ho gaya. No, we need to speak it up. And thank you, sir. That was really, very nice. And I'm still sinking those thoughts of yours, and which is really has gotten a lot of insight to it. So why did this happen? And now over to the last segment, and that is a vote of thanks. None of the events, just closed down. We have a vote of thanks by Ritika Seni, and Ritika, I would like you to come and address the audience.
So, distinguished guests, esteemed dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this momentous book launch, I stand before you on behalf of Falcon Publishing to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has made today's event a resounding success. Thank you so much for coming. First and foremost, our deepest appreciation to our chief guest, Journal Ved Prakash Malik. Sir, your presence has honored this occasion and lent tremendous credibility to this important work. Your insights, drawn from decades of distinguished service and intimate understanding of Kashmir's complexity, have enriched our understanding immeasurably. We are equally grateful to our guest of honor, Colonel Daljeet Singh Cheema, accomplished author and a motivational speaker. Sir, your thoughtful observations and support for serious scholarship resonate deeply with the spirit of this book. Our sincere gratitude to Colonel Chandigarh Singh for providing a powerful overview of the book. We are deeply grateful to the veteran officer, Colonel Jagdeep Singh, who shared his personal experience and added authenticity to our discussions. To Mr. Yoginder Kandhari, our author, we offer our highest admiration. Sir, your courage in undertaking this 3.5-year research journey, conducting over 150 interviews and meticulously documenting this sensitive chapter of our history, has produced what we believe will become the definitive account of this critical period. We extend our heartfelt appreciation to Mrs. Renika Dhar for anchoring today's function with such elegance and insight. I would like to call her so that I can present her application. Thank you so much, ma'am. To our friends from the media present today, thank you for your courage of this book launch event. To all distinguished guests, scholars, and book lovers who have joined us today, your presence has actually made this event truly, truly meaningful. Thank you so much. Our sincere thanks to the Chandigarh Press Club, of course, for this excellent venue and warm hospitality. As we celebrate this scholarly achievement, let us remember for those who suffered during the Kashmir Insurgency. This book serves as a testament to their experiences and ensures that their stories are not forgotten. Thank you all, and may this book find the wide readership it actually deserves. Jai Hind.